Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ben Keyser with Applied Flow Technology. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me in today's webinar. It's great to have you all listening in. Today's webinar is being recorded as usual, and you will be sent a link later this week where you could watch it again if you really would like to, or you can send it around to your colleagues. And then for those of you who are listening to the recorded version for the first time, thank you for watching. Anyway, today I'm excited to talk about how to size an expansion loop with the AFT Fathom ANS module. Now, the AFT Arrow ANS module for gas piping systems can do the same thing that I'm showing you here today. I'm demonstrating a capability based upon Fathom. So don't think that's only that Fathom can do this. AFT Arrow can do it too, as it has a automated network sizing module as well. I have our website pulled up here, which I'm sure that you all are familiar with. And one of the things I wanted to point out here is this very special deal that we have going on the ANS module. If you were to purchase the ANS module for Fathom or Arrow before December 31st, 2019, you'll be able to take good advantage of our special introductory pricing at 50% off. So time is ticking and it's almost the end of the year. So this would be a great stocking stuffer present for your team of engineers. So be sure that you look into that. If you are located within the United States, you should be able to see our pricing on our products menu. If you are outside the United States, please be sure to contact your local channel partner in the region that you're located in, and they can get you the pricing for you as well. So definitely don't pass up that deal. It's excellent capability, and the usefulness, it's going to save you far more than what you'd be getting the module for. So be sure to take advantage of it now. Anyway, today's webinar, I'm going to be working on a model that I demonstrated several months ago when we first came out with the automated network sizing module for AFT Fathom. So let me show you a couple of helpful prerequisite webinars that you might want to take a look at some point. So if you're on our website, aft.com, under Learning Center, you can go down to webinars. This is where you register for today's webinar. Our webinar library contains all of our previously recorded webinars on demand, and they're all free. So you just go in here and fill out the form and click submit. And once you get through that form, you'll be able to access all of our previously recorded webinars. So if you go to the Fathom page and hover over that and click on Watch Now, the webinar that I did a while back, which I'm starting with that same model file, is this one right here. So earlier this year, we started off with a series of webinars on database management, top 10 features you can't go without, how much will your system cost you. Those are all webinars that I went over content that is kind of a precursor to using the automated network sizing module. If you're going to use the ANS module, you're going to want to know how to make databases, and you're going to want to know how Fathom and Arrow can do cost calculations. Also, in this webinar here itself, I demonstrated how to create a cost database from scratch. The next webinar right here is where I introduced the ANS module capability in a very basic sense, and then I expanded on it in this particular webinar here, where I automatically sized an entire piping network with ANS. And that's actually going to be the starting point for my model today. And I'm going to go over a high level of how I did that, and we'll take a look at what the results look like for the two different ways that you could size things using monetary costs. And then from there, I'm going to demonstrate an expansion to that system. So that's where you can find those webinars to find the development of the model that I'm demonstrating for you today. All right, let me go ahead and jump into Fathom now. All right, so this is the AFT Fathom model that I demonstrated in that previous webinar. First question you might have is, what are all these red ampersand signs? And what do those mean? Well, that's actually a new feature that came out with Fathom 10, Arrow 7, and Impulse 7, and it's a useful way of flagging your attention to the fact that each of those pipes has a number of fittings and losses included within it. So rather than having to use any of the junctions here in the toolbox, if I open up any of these pipes here, you can go to see how long the pipe is, which this particular pipe is 700 feet. So on the fittings and losses tab, I've lumped in 15 90-degree elbows in that pipe. So if this is one of the features I talked about in the top 10 features you can't go without knowing how to use. If you were to click on the specify fittings and losses button, this is where you can go in and specify exactly how many of each type of fitting that you have in that particular pipe. This is an excellent way of dramatically simplifying your model while maintaining a high level of accuracy. And incidentally, when you click on any of these rows, you can see how the picture changes. If you double click on that picture, it's going to tell you where we're getting that particular loss model from. So that is all about what the red ampersand means, is I have fittings and losses in those particular pipes. If I go to the model data window really quick here, what you'll see is this particular column is telling you at a high level all of the pipes that have additional losses lumped into that fittings and losses tab. And then if you go to the pipe fittings and losses tab itself, this is where you can get more of a breakdown on all the different types. So in this particular model, I only specified elbows that were 90-degree elbows. I didn't bother to throw in any other types of fittings like valves or orifice plates, etc., but I certainly could have. Here's one of the key things as to why I did this to really make this example exciting is it's possible to actually account for the cost of any type of fitting that you are lumping in to the pipes. So not only do you have the capability to account for your overall piping costs, as well as your pump costs, control valve costs, heat exchanger costs, etc., you can also account for how much it costs for your branches or your T's or your elbow junctions to be in the model as well. So pretty much any of these different types of junctions, except for these two, those are fictitious and this is an infinite boundary. Any of the junctions that I have highlighted, you can essentially account for the costs, either if you're doing just regular cost calculations with Fathom or Arrow, or if you're actually doing an automated network sizing analysis with the ANS module. All right. So from there, the next thing that I did was I turned on the ANS module, which is this button down here. If you go to the button right next to the status light, this is where you can access all of our add-on modules that are incredibly useful add-ons and time savers. So we've got GSC, XTS, settling slurry. Here's where I've turned on the ANS module. And once it finds the license, you'll be able to use that capability. So now that I've turned on the ANS module, I have the sizing tab, and that's where all the magic happens with doing the automated network sizing process. Let me click on the status light really quick and show you the checklist. As you can see here, the first three checklist items are exactly the same. So when you're going to build your model of your piping system in order to size it for yourself, all of these three things are the same thing that you're already used to. Solution control with your tolerances, define your fluid information, specifying the input for your pipes and junctions. Nothing has changed with any of that. So really, the only additional thing that you're needing to do with the automated network sizing module is this option right here to define all your sizing input. And as you can see, I actually have a green check mark for it and a green status light. I already went through and did this entire process from the previous webinar. I'm not going to go through how you set it up from scratch like I did in the previous webinar, but I will go through each step of the process so that you can see what it looks like.